Have you ever heard of a man so loyal that even betrayal could not shake his courage? A man whose final breath was spent saving the very people who had cast him aside. History has a way of burying such stories under the rubble of wars and the silence of the victors. But some tales claw their way back, demanding to be heard. This is one of those stories. The haunting tale of the lost hero who died saving those who had betrayed him. It began during a war no one wanted to remember. A war where soldiers were treated as pawns on a blood-stained board. In that chaos lived Captain Elias Marrow, a man whispered about in hushed tones by both allies and enemies. He wasn't the strongest, nor the most decorated, but he carried something rarer, an unshakable moral compass. Men trusted him not because of the stars on his uniform, but because of the fire in his eyes when he swore he'd never leave anyone behind. And for years he kept that promise. But loyalty, as history often proves, is not always rewarded in kind. Within his own ranks grew envy. Younger officers despised how soldiers followed Elias more than they followed official orders. Whispers turned into poison, and poison turned into betrayal. Behind closed doors, these men plotted his downfall, not by facing him on the field of honor but by branding him a traitor. They claimed he had leaked information to the enemy, that his bravery was just a cover for treachery. Lies travel fast in wartime, faster than truth can ever catch them. Within weeks, Elias was stripped of his command, dishonored and cast aside. What stung, more than the accusations, was the silence of the men he had once saved. Those who owed their lives to him lowered their eyes when his name was spoken. Too fearful to defend him. Betrayal, he realized, doesn't always come with knives. It comes with silence, with abandonment. And yet, fate wasn't done with Elias. Months later, a brutal winter storm swept across the valley where his former regiment was stationed. The enemy, knowing their weakness, launched a surprise assault. Cut off from reinforcements, the regiment was surrounded, trapped in a crumbling fort with dwindling supplies. Panic set in. Men who had once sneered at Elias now whispered prayers in the dark, their proud commanders paralyzed by fear. Far from the fort, Elias had been living like a ghost in the wilderness, surviving on scraps and the bitterness of betrayal. But news of the siege reached him through a wandering villager, and here at this fork in the road, most men would have turned away. Why save those who had destroyed you? Why lift a hand for those who had left you to rot? But Elias Marrow was not most men. On a moonless night he returned uninvited, unarmed but for his old rifle and an iron will. He knew the fort better than anyone, knew its secret tunnels and weaknesses. Slipping through the snow and shadows, he infiltrated the enemy lines alone, striking with precision, buying time where no time remained. He set traps, cut supply wagons loose, and guided the trapped soldiers through a hidden path he himself had carved during earlier campaigns. The men inside could scarcely believe it. Their traitor had returned, not to seek revenge, but to save them. Fear mixed with shame as they followed his lead, step by step through the frozen darkness. And just as freedom seemed within reach, the enemy realized the ruse. Gunfire ripped through the night, bullets snapping the air like lightning. Elias turned back, covering their retreat, holding the line with the fury of 10 men. Those who had branded him a traitor looked back and saw him silhouetted against the snow, rifle blazing, refusing to take a single step toward safety. He had made his choice, his life for theirs. When dawn broke, the soldiers emerged from the forest, battered but alive. Elias was not among them. His body was found later by villagers, frozen, riddled with bullets, yet still clutching his rifle as if daring death itself to pry it from his grip. The officers who betrayed him never spoke of that night. To admit the truth would mean admitting their cowardice. Official records remained silent, burying his name in dust. The world never honored Captain Elias Marrow. No medals, no monuments, no songs. But among the few soldiers who had witnessed his final stand, a whisper lived on. Around campfires, in hushed tones, they told of the man who had returned when no one else would. The man who died saving those who betrayed him. And perhaps, in that whisper, Elias found something greater than medals or monuments. For legends don't need statues to stand tall. They live where betrayal cannot touch them, in the raw, unshakable truth of memory. So when you hear the stories of war, the ones polished by glory and gilded with triumph, remember there are others, forgotten, painful, but no less heroic. Men like Elias Marrow, the lost hero, who showed the world that true courage is not saving those who love you but saving those who don't deserve it. Because in the end, what makes a hero unforgettable is not victory but sacrifice. And Elias's sacrifice will echo as long as there are those willing to listen to the silence between history's lies.